It is starting to become a tradition for live service games to fail very quickly. Here comes Highguard, a game that was revealed at the end of the Game Awards by Jeff Keighley. And when I saw the trailer for this thing, I felt nothing. It's a PvP, free-to-play, hero shooter type of game that also involves raids. So they're combining multiple elements that I don't like, and a lot of people don't like. And so when you say live service, free to play, PvP, a lot of people are just going to be turned off by that. But you know what? Maybe you could still make some type of a good game, because Marvel Rivals did very well. And now obviously they're using a licensed IP that everybody, well, lots of people love. But that gave them a real shot. But hey, it can be done. But Highguard, when I watched this trailer revealed at the Game Awards, and Jeff Keighley said that this game was developed by some of the people who created Titanfall and Apex Legends, that got my attention, and it got a lot of people's attention. And so we're watching this trailer, and I see a brand new IP with a bunch of characters that, I don't care about, because who are they? And what I'm seeing on the screen is nothing impressive. It kind of just looks like all the other slop shooters, free-to-play shooters that I've seen before. So what am I supposed to be interested in here? And that was the general consensus of most people. It's sort of just like, that's what you put at the end of the Game Awards. It's like, that's not really something worthy of that slot. But, it gets worse, okay? So after the game gets revealed and everybody starts dunking on it for being nothing interesting or nothing special, we hear nothing from the company that developed it for about a month. It would be different if they had shadow dropped the game, which, by the way, was initially the intention of the company Wildlight, to just drop it and let the players just figure it out as they go along. That might have worked if they had the trailer at the Game Awards and immediately shadow dropped it right after that trailer went. Maybe things could have went differently. I don't know. But here's the thing. There were several weeks where nobody heard anything from the company after their gigantic reveal, after they got all this attention. And believe me, the company was hearing the backlash from the players, like, what is this thing? What's so interesting about it? Why should I even play this thing? So, I mean, it was a lot of negativity right from the beginning. So then they announced that, hey, the game's going to come out soon. Okay, so then the game comes out in January of 2026, and people start playing it, and it's not terrible, but it's not anything great either. It's nothing groundbreaking, especially when you say the game is created by the people behind Titanfall and Apex Legends. Okay, you're setting them, the gamers, up for high expectations. And then when you release something that is mid or less than mid, then you have a problem on your hands. And that's what happened here. So you have this reveal that puts all the focus on this game. Then they release the game, and it's nothing special. So initially, they had a lot of players that, made it look like, okay, maybe this thing actually has a chance. And in fact, some of the people who were dunking on the game when the trailer was released, they actually said, you know what, this is not bad. It's okay. It's not great either. It's not good. But, sometimes it's better for a game to be like dunked on by everybody instead of people just saying, if it's meh, then people just don't want to play it. But if it's really bad, some people will just check it out because it's really bad. So what ended up happening is they started off with a bunch of players in the six figures, and then it trailed off very quickly. I believe they lost 90% of their peak player count within a week. Now that is terrible if you're a live service game. And the company behind Highguard, Wildlight, even released like a game plan for like what they were going to do to support this game throughout the year, which is typical of live service games. Like they're going to release new updates, release new characters, new weapons, things like that. I mean, but it's pretty ballsy to release a game plan for a game like this, which, again, disastrous start, guys. And that is what they did. But, there weren't a lot of players. And when you have a live service game that is very expensive to support, you're going to need players. And because if you lose players, then the matchmaking becomes bad. And, it's just a slippery slope, because you need players for a live service game. So 2 weeks after launch, okay, just 2 weeks after the game launched, Wildlight announces layoffs. And they said they're just going to have a small team to continue to support Highguard. Remember, this is the debut game from this company, which, boy, that was a real gamble for them to do this. And initially, it wasn't even planned to be a free-to-play PvP hero shooter type of game or raid type of game. Like, it was supposed to be some type of survival game, a survival shooter, which, everything that could go wrong here did go wrong. Okay, so they have layoffs at the company, and then we find out, and this hasn't really been confirmed, but Tencent, or a subsidiary of Tencent, was providing funding for this game. But when the game failed spectacularly, they withdrew their funding. Okay, so now they are losing financial backing. Layoffs, losing financial backing, negative feedback right from the moment the game was revealed at the Game Awards. So again, everything is terrible, and then you know what happens? Spoiler, you could have probably figured it out. 45 days after this game launches, it shuts down. 45 days. You're talking about, tons of money went into this game. Years of development went into this game. And 45 days is all they got out of it. I mean, when are people going to learn the lesson that live service is not the way to go? And this is part of a general trend of gaming companies wanting to just take every penny you have out of your pockets and find a way to do that. That's what the whole popularity of gaming companies wanting to create live service games that are constantly supported, that they add on all these microtransactions. It's just about taking money away from you. It's not about the quality of the game. It's not about providing you with a good experience. It is about ripping you off in any which way that they can. And this is an example of what happens when you try to do that. You fail. You fail when you care more about taking money from people or finding a way to take money from people. Even though this is free to play, it's like still, they're going to have to support this game and they're going to need money from you to do that. So live service is not the answer. I don't know how many of these failures we need to have, but Highguard is one of the most recent and most spectacular examples of a live service failure, and it couldn't have happened to a better game. Well, the game isn't really that good, so it couldn't have happened to a midder game, a more mediocre game than Highguard.